myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man.
Hello and welcome to this episode where we're going to talk about 3 of the more popular bow builds. As you saw in the intro, they do dramatically different DPS over the top 10 taken from POE Ninja. Now, if I've done it correctly, you should be seeing Ice Shot and explaining what it is. As you can see, it is a cold base AoE bow skill. Now if we bring up the other thing I have, which is some of the skills that was common. Now, the Ice Shot obviously is the main skill. We have Hypothermia, Inspiration, Increased Crit Damage, Elemental Damage with Attacks, and Vicious Projectiles as a 6th link. A example bow is this one. I'll zoom in a bit and scroll. You can pause it and have a look or whatever. But that is a example of an Ice Shot bow. Now, the supporter gems that were in common. The other gems that are missing are the auras and all that. They vary depending on how the person decided to create their build. So as you do it, you can decide what you need more, and more than likely you'll be referencing this or that other build anyway. But with these you can pretty much go any direction you want. Frenzy, Mana Forge Arrow, Power Charge on Crit, Sniper's Mark, and Mark on Hit. These 3 sets are pretty much all you need to make sure you get. The bow, as I showed you, I'll bring it back. And yep, should be everything visible. As you can see, the gem converts the cold physical into cold, so you can have the fizz damage. And since you don't need this exact bow, but obviously you can work your way up. Now, Ice Shot did have an average of just under 40 million DPS overall. It did vary throughout the top 10, but average of the top 10 is the lowest out of these 3. We shall move on to the second highest in DPS. The second highest in DPS was Lightning Arrow, which we have here, and we have the example bow. Just make sure my face is not covering any of it. As you can see, the skill gems are similar. Tornado Shot has a little bit different, but the skill wise is obviously different because we're converting it into lightning. So you're got the same similar bow, you're doing the fizz into lightning, so it auto converts itself. We have similar gems, as I said. We have the LE damage with attacks, inspiration, crit, increased crit damage, hypothermia, but volatility, frenzy, mana forge arrow, power charge on crit, sniper's hit, mark on hit. Those are the 3 sets of skill gems. As you can see, there's a little bit different with this one. It varied. You could have the vicious projectiles on some, and some had volatility, so I included the volatility to show some of the versatile vicious projectiles. I think I said something else, but vicious projectiles was on some, but a handful had volatility. So it's a little more diverse throughout the actual build creations. Lightning Arrow, as you can't see because I got this thing in the way. And I'll move this so you can pause it if you need to, and you can see the whole thing because my face should be out of the way of it. But you can see the lightning is AoE again. Tornado Shot is slightly different as it's not an AoE. That's why I'm adding AoE into it. But we have an AoE lightning based where we convert fizz into lightning. We can skip, as you can see, it fires an arrow that causes enemies to be struck by a bolt of lightning. Lightning bolt can hit nearby enemies. So it's a similar skill to the ice shot, except we're not chilling and not increase the threshold of our chill. We are doing some lightning damage. And as you can see by this and the damage, which was just under 50 mil, the actual build is similar, and the range between the top and the bottom of the 10 was actually closer. So that's why the DPS is slightly higher on average. The higher numbers were more consistent on this build. So it is, as DPS stands, second best of the three we have. Now the the first best of the three was Tornado Shot, with hitting almost 72 million. If I recall correctly, 71 point something. Now, Tornado Shot, I'll move this out of the way again, as you can see, is not the same sort of skill. We do not have a fizz converted into or an AoE. So we have a different skill whilst being from the same family. So we have a look at the Tornado Shot, and we do not have the Sniper's Mark or the Mark on Hit. We have a different thing, Ensnaring Arrow with our Frenzy and Maniforge Arrow. This is just what was common amongst some of the top builds. You can include what you believe is best for these builds if you want, or if you follow a build guide and the person says that they prefer, then you can do that obviously. But we did not have a bunch of builds with the Mark on Hit. The Tornado Shot had volatility, elemental damage with attacks, elemental focus is a different one as well, inspiration, and increased crit damage. Now, the example bow we have, I will bring it up and show you. This is one example bow. Now, as you can see, it's slightly different to the, I'll bring over the lightning arrow so you can see the difference. As you can see, the bows actually are a lot different, whereas ice shot and lightning, you could pretty much be mistaken and think it's the same bow. This is where the bow actually, you wouldn't be able to use it at a good level for the other two builds. And I'll move this out of the way again just so you can pause if need be, and my head should be out of the way. And as in the description of it shows you, you have secondary projectiles, which it fires 3 secondary projectiles, and the quality increases projectile speed. The notes on it, the projectile speed does increase the distance which it travels before it disappears. It explains some of the point blank and the multiple projectiles, and lesser multiple projectile support can go with it. And it explains the secondary projectiles. Now, as you saw, this is just a recap. This is the highest DPS of the three. The highest on the actual POE builds, POE Ninja under the build category. The highest was slightly sort of disproportionate, high couple, possibly the same guy or the same party, because the first and second, or the first and third, or the second and third had the same bow. Potentially they could have got it from the same source, but the actual bow was the exact same when I checked. And depending on when you're checking and everything, the snapshot may be different. So the top 2, 3, you could probably kick out, and we're around that lightning arrow damage if you're not min-max to the tip top. So this is the number 1. But if you wanted to go lightning arrow, tornado shot, purely DPS wise, and you like lightning arrow over tornado shot, and you think the bow is more accessible because you have at least the ice shot people trying to create those bows as well, then do to go lightning arrow, because the disproportionate at the top was probably lightning arrow and tornado shot even, whereas the ice shot, the disproportion from the top to the very bottom was all over the place when I checked. Lightning arrow and tornado shot are very close, but the average DPS was 20 odd higher, just under 50 and just over 70. So just to recap, we have the ice shot with these as the support gems and the other gem groups. The ice shot bow, we shall show you again, is right there. So you can pause it, do whatever, have a look at it and see what you think. Then next we went over the lightning arrow, which was these, and the lightning arrow bow was this one, and I'll leave it side by side for a sec. As you can see, it is virtually the same. Pretty much the fact that they're not the same bow is pretty much the only difference, because obviously to roll a bow identical would be quite hard, because yeah, we got pretty much the exact same stuff on the bow. So it's virtually the same bow, but I took the bows from the actual builds in the category, as I could have just shown the same bow twice and you wouldn't really know the difference, or it wouldn't even matter, because as you saw, they're just points off each other. That's all. And that's why I said our third one, the tornado arrow, if you are umming and ahhing about tornado arrow, lightning arrow, go lightning arrow, because there is at least 2 builds where they're using identical bows. Out of we're just talking about 3 builds. So 2 of our 3 builds use the exact same bow. And lightning arrow does roughly the same DPS if we're talking in a realistic sense of what you need DPS wise. Tornado arrow has this bow. This bow is slightly different, obviously, because we do not have the conversion into another element, nor do we have the AoE. So that should be a nice quick little snippet of the 3 bows skills. Now, if you want to follow a build guide, obviously this will pretty much be explained for you. If you don't like following build guides, but you needed, wanted, or whatever the word is, an idea of what you need, then obviously these skills are what you need. The other auras and everything is pretty much up to you and how you play the game and what gear you get and whether you're going off a guide or a friend or whatever. So hopefully this was informative. But until next time, goodbye.